Hey guys, Reception here. This is my Action combo guide, or lack of combo guide. Action is a fairly simple champion without too many combos. Really, he's just got one difficult ability, and he's got a different playstyle from most champions. So Action likes to take press the attack, 3 consecutive attacks do bonus damage. He likes this because his passive is this double attack, and so it's really easy proc press the attack. You get it about twice as fast as most champions, and it's just kind of part of his basic trade combo. So his basic trade combo is walk up, Q, auto attack, and then back up. And you kind of build your kit around this for the early game. So you have press the attack, which if they stay engaged with you, you can get that third attack, proc the extra bonus damage. You go bone plating, so while you're doing that trade, you're taking less damage, and your passive gives you a shield when you hit them 3 times. So you get a 45 damage shield and do a little bit of bonus magic damage during this trade. So really common to just see a short trade like that, get a shield, and back up. All right. So that's Action's combos. We're done. No, I'm just kidding. Level 2, you get his E. Now his E isn't really a combo tool, right? You're going to do stuff like grapple here and go around. It's not really a combo in that you do all this damage with one ability. The hard part of Action is learning when to use this, how to use this, and how to, just the general idea of using his E. So for instance, from here, you can use his E. You can get way out here from basically your tower, right? Like that is a lot of distance to cover in 1 second. So that's the trick that you're trying to learn on Action. You're not trying to learn combos on him. You're not trying to learn how to make crazy plays. You're just trying to understand what does Action do in general and why is he good at it. Well, Action is really good level 1 because he has a very powerful passive, very powerful Q. His Q, when you throw it out, hits them twice and does 121 damage. That is more than most people's Q. His passive makes you hit twice, which does 104 damage. Plus, it will proc the Dirty Fighting passive, which will give you a 50 damage shield, as well as proc the 15 bonus magic damage from it. Okay, so level 2, he gets his E, and his E, as you can see, does almost as much as some people's ultimates. Like that, I messed it up there, and that did 200 damage. I did it correctly there, and that did 300 damage. So you're doing 300 damage with one ability, right? And maybe they're trading back with you or hitting you. But in general, this E does way too much damage. And the cool part about it is that if you are able to kill them with it, it's off cooldown and you can come out, because champion takedowns refreshes the cooldown on it. So you can use it to get in, do a lot of damage, then you can use it to reposition. Maybe if you get assist, you can use it again to go back in and kill somebody. So you can kind of go crazy with the E. All right. Action has an interesting leveling up pattern. So he goes Q, then E, then his Q again. He doesn't go his W because his W adds 0 damage to his kit. So oftentimes you'll see Action go QEQ or EQQ with their level up power or pattern. Okay, so that's all of his early game kind of combos. He doesn't really have any other combos until he gets to mid game, when he gets his level 6. So let's pretend that you are now level 9. Okay. Now let's pretend there's a player behind here. use your R on that player, the target dummy in between will block it. So his ult can be blocked similar to Caitlyn's ult. And if we put another target dummy out here and channel on this, the tower can block his ult and protect the target dummy. But we start the ult and then we reposition. You can reposition it so that you go around the tower. You can do the same thing here. You can reposition so that this guy has a harder time blocking. You can do that while your R is being channeled. You can move it. Okay. Let's clear those target dummies out. Let's see, why is that not working? Okay, let's pretend you want to use your ult on this target dummy, and you also want to use your E. Well, the problem is if you use your ult and your E doesn't do any damage. So while you're charging your ult, your E just does nothing. But what you can do is you can press your R, then press your E, and then you can go in and use both at the same time. And if I do it correctly here, you can do something like this. I actually messed it up there because I got the timing wrong. And you can get quite a bit of damage there by actually landing both the E and the R at the same time and repositioning. And it's not really that hard to land, I just am bad at it. But with practice, you'll get it. And in real games, you might not really want to do this because it's such a high variance, high risk thing where you start channeling and then you make a mistake like this, you're probably just dead. Like if you waste your E going in, you get bumped on them, you're standing in front of them channeling your R like this, that is not going to work for you. Okay, so that's the combos. There's a few extra combos that I'm not going to go into. One of them being that you can E and then flash out of your E, and flashing out of your E can get like a really long range auto attack from your E. Because the third cast, you shoot a final shot that does damage. Really not worth optimizing while you're still learning to play, learning action. That's just it's just an idea that's interesting because from this distance, you can hit somebody about here and hit them with your E from starting over here, right? So that's a long distance you can travel and land some E damage. And then when you land with your E, you can also proc your passive and just get a bunch of damage out. So that's his combos. Let's turn minions back on, and I want to talk about how Akshan likes to play. So let's pretend you're starting to level up. You're level 9. Maybe you have part of Kraken Slayer. Maybe you don't have Kraken Slayer completely finished, and you walk into lane, and you can wave clear pretty quickly doing that, and you want to walk out of lane, go stealth, and you just kind of want to do chores. So a chore might be like warding this, or a chore might be just sitting back behind your tower, but what you're not doing is you're not standing in lane in everybody's vision trying to hit your opponent under tower, or trying to, let's actually turn all those off. You're not doing this. You're not pacing back and forth back here waiting for your minions to come up. And I see a lot of mid players do this type of thing. This is not what you want to do on Akshan. Really want to be farming out the minions and then stealthing and acting like you're going bottom. And you want to act like you're going bottom because a lot of cases you do want to go bottom, but you don't want your opponents to know that you've gone bottom, you want them to think you're still in mid lane. So this is the second wave where I'll come right back to mid. And I'm going to throw my Q. And stealth again. You might just chill here in this bush, and maybe you hope that the enemy comes into this bush, or maybe that you hope they come right here, and you can fight them. You can all in them while they're rotating top, making them think that maybe you've already walked all the way top, and then you can fight them if they try to counter roam. You're just doing this all game. You know, you're doing this from level 4. The second you get your W, you're doing this roam thing. And eventually you see a situation like this where the bottom lane is pushing up too hard and you stealth in. And maybe right here, this is where you all in them. And you and your bottom lane can easily take them out. So yeah, because of this Q and how good it is at clearing minions, you get to roam a lot. And then you don't really miss too much because of your roam. And let's level up to 13 here. And let's take Akshan's 3-item power spike build. Now let's head back to mid. And this is what Akshan feels like when... He actually does so much damage, it's crazy. This is what Akshan feels like when he's got his 3-item power spike. So, you know, you can hit them a couple times. That did 2100 damage to hit him 4 times, right? And so you want to be making plays like that, or you want to walk under the tower and maybe lasso away. If you use your swing to get away, you want to do it when you want to do something like this, and then you come back in and then you press select your R on them, right? And that does a lot of damage. So you don't necessarily need to use your E to dive them under the turret like going in. You can instead use it in a way where you're getting out of the turret range and then rolling back in and fighting them. Okay. So how do you beat Akshan? Well, Akshan is a champion that has a reset on kill, and any champion with resets on kill generally does worse against tankier players, people with defensives, so things like Malphite, things that have a stun, things that are going to just stop you from continuing to use your combos over and over and over. And so Akshan's E is what resets, and he really likes to get an easy kill on something like a squishy support, or maybe an AD carry that can't defend itself, that doesn't have very good peel. So that might be something like Misfortune isn't going to do a very good job of protecting herself. And so that's who you want to be like tracking down and killing oftentimes in these team fights, is you're kind of sharking around, stealth, and if they're doing Baron here, you're not the first one to go in. You're just kind of chilling. Maybe you're warding, waiting for your team, and you're walking up. And let's say she's right there. You want to walk up and then throw your Q, auto, maybe all in like that or something, right? But what you don't want to be doing is you don't want to be just walking out of this bush and just trying to fight her. That is not what you want to do. You want to like come in halfway through a fight. That goes into how the W has a second mechanic called the Scoundrels mechanic. So Scoundrels are players who have killed your allies. Players that have killed your allies become Scoundrels, and it marks them on the map with a line. So you'll see a little line when you're in stealth mode, and it will show you how to get to that target that's killed your ally. And you can kind of track them down, and it'll show that they're in Dragon Pit or something, and then you can fight them. And if you kill them, your ally will immediately res in base upon you killing them, and you get a bonus 100 gold for killing them. So this is not a mechanic that you really want to like make choices about how the game state is and change the way you want to play. This is a mechanic where it's like, well, if I'm in a team fight and I see a low life Nocturne kill my ally, maybe Nocturne's who I'm trying to kill now. But you don't want to see Nocturne kill your jungler here and then you go, oh, I'm going to stealth and go try to get Nocturne rezzed. You don't want to, you know, walk and hunt down this guy unless you would have done it anyways without the scoundrel mechanic, right? The scoundrel mechanic is not a strong enough mechanic to convince you to like chase a jungler up into their base, right? Okay. So let's talk about how to walk out of stealth at a champion. Oftentimes, you're going to be stealth somewhere like here and you see this champion. And if you just walk straight at him, use your Q and auto attack twice, you might be able to get it off sometimes, but oftentimes they'll react to it and they'll just back up. You won't be able to land your combo on them. So what you want is you want them to actually be walking towards you. And if they're walking towards you, then it's a lot easier because then you can throw it right here and get a couple auto attacks on them and they won't be able to react as fast. It's twice as hard to react when they're walking towards you. So try to set up a situation where they're walking towards you. Maybe they're walking into the bush or they're walking down this way to try to get a ward at your raptors, and you just want to be between them and where they're trying to go to get a nice engage off. All right, let's see if there's any other mechanics I wanted to cover. Yes. Okay, so let's clear that dummy out. Let's say that you get chased and you're just like, well, I got a flash, and you're going to use W. A good place to hide is right here. This is a pretty decent place to hide. You can even ward as you're walking through there, and you can see if they know you're here. Another good place is up here. You can walk all the way through here, up through this bush, and you can walk up to this corner here, and they won't be able to see you here. If you're right here where I'm at, they can't see you. They won't be able to see you from that bush, right? So that's pretty good. And a lot of players are going to come down here and think you're in this bush and try to figure out where you are, and they'll walk out here and kind of look for you up here. You can walk all the way up to right here and be stealthed, right? So this is a good place too if you can get to it. But if you walk right here, they see you. So that little exclamation means enemy players can see you. So you want to walk here, but not around this corner. As soon as you walk around this corner, everyone knows where you are. So don't do that one. All right. All right. So, yeah, let's talk about some other things that you can do to counter action. You can play. So we talked about playing tanky champions. We talked about playing champions that can protect themselves. You know, that's things like Malphite. That's things like Syndra. Syndra does incredibly well against action. She can knock him with a stun during a swing, and Syndra in general is really good against non-mobile carries, and action would be considered a non-mobile carry. The only mobility he has is on his passive, so I mentioned that he can get a double auto attack here, and that's good for doing damage. But he also, if you cancel the second auto attack, he gets a movement speed buff. You can actually see that his cloak gets a little wisp of wind when I cancel it here. So you can see that little movement speed boost that he gets when you only auto attack once. So very low mobility. My point is he's low mobility, and he only has a little bit of mobility on his passive. His W does nothing, and his E you want to be oftentimes using to try to do damage on action. And it's kind of awkward because people can flash into it and block it like that, and then you can't get away. So doing things like blocking his E escape, playing someone like Annie who can just press R on him and kill him for free. Like Action doesn't have a tool to get out of Annie's range. You know, if he's running away with this E, he's not doing damage to her. And if he goes in, Annie can just hit him with the Q, then press R on him. And as soon as she presses R on him, he's kind of stranded. And he just kind of dies for free. So, yeah, the second thing you can do is you can buy some pink wards and place some places like here or here and try to get a pink ward here so that it's really hard for Action to roam down without being seen. Now, if I roam down and they have a pink ward in here, it will alert me that I've been seen by it and I can go up there and kill it. But the enemy players, the best thing you can do is when Action's coming back here, pressing W, you can just say, hey, Action's missing, watch out, I think he's going bottom, you know, don't push that tower. And that's one of his strengths. One of his strengths is, even when I'm just sitting at my tower here, you have to tell your team, hey, back up or you might die to Action and we lose the game. And that's how Action wins games. He wins games by snowballing other parts of the map and snowballing his lane levels 1, 2, 3 are his best levels. So yeah, just try to avoid dying to him early. Try to avoid playing something he's really, really good into. He's really good into champions like Lux, who if you're playing Lux and an Action swinging at you, there's really very little you can do. And even if you throw your bind at him, he can just dodge out of his move and keep trying to fight you. And there's not much you can do now that your bind is on cooldown. So, and he can proc things like his Q and his autos and have a good time blowing you up because he just moves faster than you. So, all right. One more mechanic I wanted to just briefly talk about is, let's say there's a champion over here and you're fighting this guy. What you can do is, if you want to get to this far champion and you just want to do it using kiting and auto attacks, you want to just hit this target one time until you're on this target, right? Because you get movement speed for these single autos, you don't actually want to just use double autos. Really, the only time you want to be double auto attacking is when you're going for maximum DPS and when you're at your max range auto attack and you don't think you'll get a second auto attack. So if this guy's running away from me, double auto attack is the best way to get the most damage out. But if you're pretty close to him and he's trying to run away, it's better to kind of kite, you know, auto attack once, move, auto attack once, move. And it's very difficult to actually do this because as your items change and your level changes throughout the game, your auto attack speed actually changes too. So it's a lot easier to do this kiting motion at an attack speed that you're used to. So you need to practice it at different attack speeds. Like you can try buying boots, or you can buy random different attack speed items and see how it is, and you'll have to practice it. But I think that covers my action game combo guide. You know, there's not too much combos in there. It's mostly just gameplay strategy, and that's how you're going to win games with action, is by convincing your opponents that you're roaming on them when you're not, convincing your opponents that you're still in lane when you're roaming on them, and winning games early. He's really good in the early game. He doesn't scale as well into late game. He's got the problem that he's an 80 carry mid, so building armor can be really good against him. If you're playing something like a mage, trying to scale the late game is pretty good because your opponents are going to have to build magic resist as well as armor, and your team will oftentimes only be building armor. So it's a lot easier to deal with action when they don't have an AP jungler or an AP top on their team. But if they have that, maybe you'll still have to build conservatively and build some magic resist for, say a Rumble top or a Fiddlesticks jungle or an Elise jungle. But if they have something like, I don't know, like a Lee Sin jungle, yeah, build armor, man, and build Azonias and just go crazy on armor, and you'll do really well into action. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and comment on this video, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.